Wow, what a few days it has been. It's been pretty crazy. Things seem to have escalated a lot since I posted my last video on Tuesday or Wednesday, and we're going to look at one of the big announcements that Amazon have disclosed and sent out to their sellers, including myself, earlier this week. Now, announcement was literally made within about 2 hours of recording and posting the last video that I put up. So I did put a little note in the comment section of my last video, but I felt that it was necessary to do another video looking at this and the impact that it is having. Feels like the sky is falling, right? Everyone is panicking, panic buying toilet roll and hand sanitizer, even though there's none left. We did our part. We didn't buy too much. We were sensible. We weren't one of these crazy people who were arguing in the supermarket, fighting over a loo roll. Although I got close at one point, but we are now reeling from the effect of the announcement that they've made. So, what have they told sellers? Right? What have they told us as FBA sellers as of earlier this week? Well, I'm going to put it up on the screen somewhere, but I'm going to read it to you guys as well. We are temporarily prioritizing household staples, medical supplies, and other high-demand products coming into our fulfillment centers so that we can more quickly receive, restock, and deliver these products to customers, right? For products other than these, we have temporarily disabled shipment creation, blah, blah, blah. This will take effect today through to the 5th of April, so 2.5 weeks from now. We understand that this change to your business is significant, and we didn't make this decision lightly. So what does that mean? Well, it basically means that we can't send products into fulfillment centers, right? There's no other way of putting that. They are saying pretty much, unless you sell one of those products that falls into one of those categories that they've mentioned there, you can't send your products in, right? Now, what does that mean? Who does it affect? So me, for example, I stocked up before February. I got my shipment delivered just before Christmas, and I've got ample stock. So at the moment, that announcement hasn't really made too much of a difference to me because I've got a lot of stock. Now, the people that it's going to have the biggest effect on are people who are just about to send their inventory into FBA, right? So, for example, if you have a shipment that you have just received notice they've completed and it's being shipped over from China, and you were planning on sending it in over the next, the course of the next few days, you are no longer going to be able to do that. All right. Now that's something that we're going to need to work around. If you've already got the product and you are QCing it at your home, you can also no longer send those products in anymore, right? For the next 2.5 weeks, as the information that we've got so far. So, those are the two groups that it's going to affect, the most immediately. Although it will affect everyone because you're going to be thinking about this when you're placing future orders and, are they going to lift this suspension, blah, 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 blah. But one thing we've got to remember, and I think a few people messaged me about this, people think that you're not allowed to sell on Amazon anymore. That's definitely not the case. They're not stopping you selling on Amazon. Products that I've got in stock, hundreds of students have got in stock are selling. They're just stopping you using their fulfillment centers for a few weeks, is what they've the information they've given us so far. So you're allowed to sell products on Amazon, you just can't send them in, which is a little bit conflicting, right? They're like, you can keep selling, but you just can't send anything else in, which doesn't make huge amount of sense. But when we look at why they're doing it, it obviously does make sense in that respect. But those are the two main groups that it will have immediate effect on. So, say for example, you're just discovering Amazon FBA and you're learning the ropes, and you might not launch a product for maybe 3 months. This doesn't really mean anything to you. Them suspending shipments coming in for 2.5 weeks shouldn't worry you if you're planning on launching in 3.5 months. The announcement, the COVID issue, and the uncertainty around how quickly they're going to resolve it, that's something to think about. But there are still lots of positive reasons why getting started at the moment is the right decision. Namely, that if you've just discovered Amazon FBA, right, and you want to get started, it's going to take 3 months to get started properly, do your product research, etc. You'll need to understand how to interpret your product research slightly differently than you usually would, because figures might be skewed at the moment, so we're going to have to look at average sales over a period of time rather than just the last 15 or 30 days. But there's ways around that. That's not too complicated. But we need to understand that if we look at other countries, China, for example, if we look at Singapore is another place that has had a 2-month lockdown, and now things are going back to normal. I have a brother who has a friend who lives in Singapore, and things have gone back to normal now after 2 months, and they've gone into lockdown. So it's hard to predict when this is going to settle down and fix itself. But from everything that I've read and everything that I've learned, we are going to hit our peak within the next 8 weeks, and then things will start to go down just as they have in other countries that have done the same thing, which means that restrictions like these aren't going to last forever. They're not going to stop you sending stock in forever, but they have done it for 2.5 weeks, and they may extend it for a little while. So if you're in one of those two groups, you've got options, right? If you have your stock and you've got it at home and you're thinking, what shall I do with all of these units? You've got a few options. Either just wait and hope that on the 5th of April they will lift their restriction and they will possibly allow a window for you to send them in, right? Or they might just lift the restriction altogether. Other options would be to use their Seller Fulfillment Prime program. So guys, remember that we use Fulfillment by Amazon because it means we can store the products externally, we can have them shipped externally by a company, Amazon FBA being the actual, the part of Amazon that are doing the, the shipping and the logistical side of things. With that, we're using it so we can use that service, right? But there are other services. So you can use fulfillment centers anywhere. There's tons of fulfillment centers in the UK where you can store your products and you can integrate that into your Seller Central, and which is not difficult to do. And you can ship your products from another fulfillment center rather than an Amazon FBA fulfillment center, right? So you've got options. Now, you can find that these companies have cheaper fees, others don't. There's just, I suppose, there's more of an attraction to go for Amazon fulfillment systems because you're selling on Amazon and it kind of just links up really well, right? Which is obvious. But they have a Seller Fulfilled Prime program. I'll put the link in the description for you guys to check it out. But I've already been suggesting to students. I've got a handful of students who are about to send in. A few have decided to wait a week or two. The others are going to use those services rather than relying on Amazon FBA to actually get back to them and say that we are lifting the suspension. So that is another option. The reason we use these, fulfillment centers to get the Prime badge, right? Lots of people filter out their search, filter their search results to see products that just have Prime, which is next day delivery, right? When I buy something, let's say I was buying this trusty iPhone stand, which was bought from IKEA, but if it was bought from Amazon, I would want it tomorrow, right? I am one of those people. It's a little bit annoying, but I can't wait for things, right? I'd rather pay £10 for this and get it tomorrow than pay £5 and get it in a week. I don't know why. Maybe I'm stupid. I don't know. But people like things quickly, right? People are impatient, and that's why Prime is important. Lots of people do that, and that's one of the reasons why we use Amazon FBA, Fulfillment by Amazon, rather than fulfilling the orders yourself from your home, which you can do as a merchant. So I think, looking at this is just, oh my God, let's just, go crazy is definitely not the right thing to do, right? There are workarounds, right? We can use with Seller Fulfilled Prime instead of Amazon FBA. We can have our product shipped from a UK fulfillment center out to our customers within 24 hours, just as you would if you were using FBA, and you have the Prime badge as well with that program, right? They've set it all up so you've got it all together as one. So that would be a solution to that. Now, that's the first point. One thing to note as well, guys, if you've already got a shipment created and it was created before that announcement, it will go in to their fulfillment centers. So they're not going to you know, just say, forget it, you can have those back. As long as you've made the shipment plan, that you can send them in, but they're just going to be not allowing you to create further shipment plans since that announcement's gone through, and hopefully it's lifted in a few weeks, right? So those are the main points for the video. I just wanted to, I think it was important for you guys to know what's going on. Again, I did put a comment and pinned it on my last video because it literally got released just as I uploaded the video, and I was like, this is like the worst timing ever, because I obviously needed to mention this in the last video, so I just did my best and put it in the comment section and then put a video up for you guys now. But should you panic about this? My view on it is no. Is it a worrying time? Yes. There's no doubt about that. There's a lot of uncertainty about what's going to happen. But in my opinion, I believe that there are workarounds here. There's a clear workaround. We do not need to use fulfillment by Amazon. We can use other systems and integrate them just as easily, right? Secondly, you might have loads of stock in for your product anyway, and you've got 3 or 4 months of stock, and you're not worrying too much about not being able to send products in because you don't need to send any products in, right? You might just be looking into the idea of FBA, right? You might be at home, you might be working from home, and you might have been laid off from work, hopefully not, and you've got tons of time on your hands and you want to start something new and fresh. And I would definitely not look at this as something to put you off, and that's my opinion, right? Because I think that if I stumbled across Amazon FBA today, right, it might take me 3 to 4 months to get a product launched, right? To do all my training, my research, everything before my product's launched. Now in 4 months, right, things are going to have died down. Based on what's happened everywhere else, things will be going back to normal. So if you thought, and I've seen other advice, you know, don't start this now, it means that you're going to wait 4 months for this to die down, and then you'll have to start from scratch, and it'll be another 4 months. So that is what I think about the process. Remember, it's a timeline, right? If someone said that you were going to launch tomorrow, start today and launch a product tomorrow, is it better to wait a month? I'd say, yeah, it probably is, because if it was that quick to launch, there's no point launching when there's all this uncertainty, right? There's no point launching with all this uncertainty if you can just launch a product like this from zero to launch. There's no need. You may as well wait until this blows over a little bit and then you can launch quickly. But because the process is stretched out, right, launching a product isn't quick. It takes a little bit of time to get things started and to do your research. Then why not use this time to your advantage, right? Until things do die down, rather than wait until they've died down and then have to do all that after. But that's just my opinion. I try to look at things positively, I suppose. I don't know. But yeah, those are my main thoughts in this video, what I wanted to share with you guys. So it's an important update. It's something that you need to understand. Who will it affect and what you can do to work around it. It will only affect a small proportion of people, again, the 2 groups that I spoke about immediately, although it will have a wider effect if it is dragged out for longer, which they haven't indicated that it will. They said that they will let you know when they resume regular operations. So let's hope that that is, you know, within the period that they're saying here. If it's not, they might extend it for a few weeks, or who knows how long they'll extend it for. But we have workarounds, and I think it's important to try and look at things positively, have a positive spin on things, and make the most of all this time that we've got at home, right? I'm at home all the time now, and all I'm doing is working on my laptop and trying to think of different ways to diversify and create different income streams. I'm doing product research. If you, one thing to note as well, I mentioned it briefly earlier, when you are doing your product research now, I mentioned in the last video, that manufacturers are starting to open. That's proven. We have articles that are showing that sector is starting to get fired up again. I've been contacted by suppliers about products already in the last few days. However, one thing we do need to do if we are looking into this business model at the moment, you've got more time, you want to start learning how to do this. Something that is very important though, if you are looking to start this business model over the next few months, to make sure that you are considering the impact of COVID-19 on sales data. So when you're looking at sales, for example, if you're looking at products on Helium 10 and you're trying to analyze their monthly revenue figures, make sure you don't just look at their monthly revenue. Use the sales chart on Helium 10, the little graph that you can click on when you're using X-Ray, and look at their sales over the last 6 months and 12 months, and try and get your average sales over a considerable chunk of time, not including how things have gone like this with COVID, right? Because we want to know what sales are like for a product when times aren't as crazy as these, because they're not going to be as crazy as these moving into the future. For example, if you looked at a product now and it was doing £50,000 a month, I would say do not take it as it doing £50,000 a month, right? Because it might be hand sanitizer. Have a look at the sales data, see what it was averaging before, and then we can expect it to return near to that when all of this calms down. So make sure you are factoring in the effect of COVID on sales data, because figures will be skewed for the period since all of this crazy information has been released. The government are saying to do this, that and the other, and everyone's starting to panic. But remember, people are at home, people are shopping more, people want to buy things online when they're stuck indoors on their laptop, right? Much more likely to, so it's sort of balancing that with people being more cautious with money. It's going to depend what products you sell, the ticket price of the item, but my opinion is that as things start to calm down over the next few weeks, I think there's going to be a positive impact on sales overall, personally, because people are going to be just at home all the time. That's my opinion. But that's it from me, guys. Sorry, I've got a little bit of a cold, but I hope that was useful. Important announcement, and I'll see you guys in the next one.